Hi there, welcome to Minecraft. And this might look a little different. No, it definitely looks modded, right? It's not. It is the new Snapshot. Snapshot 20W06A. And I got the chance to play it today. It was released on February the 5th, and this is the first snapshot that we have of the new Nether update. And as you can see, there's a lot of changes here, and I'm super excited to go over it because it's pretty awesome. This is a real game changer. This is going to make the Nether really worth it. And I know there's a lot more that's going to be coming. This is just the first part, but we have a lot to go over. So let's take a look around. So we're going to start out here in the Nether, and I'm just going to give you a little tour of what I have noticed. Luckily, where I started, it's actually pretty easy to showcase like what's going on, because there's a lot going on here. First off, as you can see, there's new biomes. This here is the warped forest. This is one of the biomes here that you're going to notice the different texture of the ground. You're going to notice there's like little plants and fungi growing around, and then there's trees. Yes, you got it. Trees in the Nether. And since I'm in creative, you can see they are trees. These are the warp trees? Warp fungus. Warp fungus, I believe is what it's called. And growing onto it is actually warped nether block, as you can see. So this is a like bluish, greenish version of the nether block. The other thing to notice that's growing on these trees, we have shroom lights, another light source here, and they grow up onto the trees, as you can see, kind of like randomly, and it's gorgeous. It's a whole different color than the usual like red-ish color that you get everywhere you go in the Nether. You know, this usual one right here. So that is pretty awesome. Let's find the next one. Here we go. The next one we got is the Soul Sand Valley. It's right next door. It makes it nice and easy. The Soul Sand Valley is exactly what you think it's going to be. A lot of soul sand. And what is the difference? If you can see this slightly different texture here. Boom. Soul soil. It's going to... We'll go over the different properties of this later, but it is different. Not to mention, there's some pretty cool things about it. There's also, I guess, the remains of old, ancient, dead creatures that used to live here in the Nether. Giant ones. This one apparently worked for Facebook. There's bone blocks everywhere. Boop, boop. There we go. And if you look down, see we got more different like structures made of bone blocks. Some of them a bit floaty, but what you gonna do? It still looks great. So that's one of them. And then, whoop, let's get out of the fire. Let's see if we can find the next one. Actually, there is a new way to find biomes in here. That's one of the things that they updated with this. And let's test that out. We have locate biome, and then we're gonna go Minecraft. And the next one is called the Crimson Forest. So boom. So here it will tell you that where the nearest one is located. Or you can just click on it and then boom. Takes you exactly where you want to go. First thing you notice is look at the swirling particles that are in the air. This here is the Crimson Forest, and it has its own like look and feel to it. We definitely went back to the whole red look, but it's still unique from the original biomes. First, you know, of course, the spores, and then we have our own trees. These ones is going to be the crimson stem, so the crimson trees. And if this looks like nether work, it's because it is. One thing I have to say, if anybody's been watching this and saw my tower that I made, nether wart is actually one of the most expensive blocks to get in the game, so really wish this existed when I was making that tower. But what you gonna do? And look, and it has its own type of vines that's growing from it. So you're gonna notice that there's all sorts of, well, this is a weird generation. Not sure what happened there, but you can tell that there's a lot going on. What else can we notice about this area? Oh, from the notes in the snapshot, we noticed that it's actually supposed to have hoglins, which we'll go over a little later, that are supposed to naturally generate in these areas. I haven't noticed any as of yet, while I've been like poking my head around, but they're supposed to be in this area. This is actually surprisingly supposed to be like the most peaceful of the area, of the different biomes that you can go to. And this kind of proves right here that you can actually get some of the old the trees, what was it, the warped ones? Yes, the warped fungi and stuff, despite the fact that this is not a warped forest, can still kind of grow in there, kind of rarely. And then notice like there's little bushes, which let's see, what are they called? Crimson roots. Then we got crimson fungi. Yeah, all these little things that are growing up all around the area. Really is like, it's just so vastly different than what we were used to. Oh, one other thing I wanted to go over when it comes to the soul sand areas. This right here. This is basalt. And it has been, I've noticed it grows downwards, until it gets to an area and it kind of like piles up. As far as I know, it doesn't do anything else other than that, other than to give you kind of like a, a cool look to it, so something different. Let's see, what else do we notice when we're around here? Oh yes, the particles in this area. I know they're kind of light, but it's like falling soot. I don't know if you can pick it up in the video, but it does definitely. Let's see, that shows it a little better. Yeah, the falling soot, which is, for the soul sand and the basalt that's coming down, it gives it that extra little ambiance that we're really enjoying here. As you can see, the Nether Fortress generation is still the same. It still grows in any biome that we want to. So that itself hasn't changed, because this right here is a soul sand biome. And see, more bone blocks. Oh, and it turns out that I was actually a little wrong when I said earlier that the Crimson Forest was the safest one. According to the notes, it's actually the Warp Forest is going to be the safest biome in the entire Nether, though definitely the strangest one. Alright, so using a little command magic and spectator mode, here's something that I found. It's actually called Ancient Debris, and you can see here by like going around for all that I've cleared, it is not common, and I believe the most you're going to find in a chunk, from what I heard, is 4. So like I took out this entire chunk, not a single piece in there. And you go around, I mean, those are the only pieces. And the ore generation, as you can see, oh, there's another one, is what I read from, I believe it was Nembomb, one of the guys on the SciCraft server, is that they are going to be mostly done around 16 y-axis, and then a little bit here and there up and nowhere. So that's going to be where you're going to want to mine for it if you're going to get it. And the problem is if anybody who's ever been to the Nether knows that 16 is where all the lava is usually. So they're generally going to be under all of these lava lakes is where you're going to find this ancient debris. Not only is it super rare, but it's also super dangerous to find. I did one first test. Oh, there's another piece. There's the side profile of it. One test where I found one, and then I dug at the 16. I dug for 150 blocks and didn't find another single piece. So it's gonna be hard, but we're gonna show you in just a second why it's gonna be such a game changer. So here we are at my little setup laboratory. We're going to go over each and every one of the blocks here. As you saw from the beginning, notice this nice shiny black armor that I got going on here. This is something that before you could only get from a mod, but we're going to go over how you get it. So that little ancient debris that we found earlier, that's the key. First off, we start with the ancient debris. We just went over about how hard that is to find in the nether. Once you get that, you're actually going to put it into a, let's say, a furnace here. Boom. You can drop that off and then it's going to smelt, and you see it actually smelts at a pretty slow rate. This is why they suggest that you put it into a blast furnace, which, as you can see, is like double the rate in which that it's going to come out. From there, you're going to get the nether scraps. There we go. It's actually from the nether scraps you're going to go in to a crafting bench, and then you're going to put 4 of the nether scraps and 4 of the gold ingots to get another ingot. Boom. From the nether ingots, that's when you could either do, let's say here, you could put up 9 of these and get this beautiful, beautiful nether block. As you can see, I put it everywhere. It's got a cool like metallic sound when you put it down. I think it's a beautiful block. I think it'd make a great flooring, a great background. Like, it's very gorgeous decorative block. The issue is that's 9 of those, which takes 4 of those to find. So I mean, that's a lot in order to just get a single block. So as beautiful it is, it's going to be nearly impossible to get. The next thing is, how do we get this armor, right? How do we get this beautiful black armor? Well, this is when you put your diamond gear in. You're actually going to take your diamond gear, so your diamond helmet. You're going to put 1 ingot in there, and then it's going to change it into the netherite version of what you found. There we go. That's how we find that, and that works for everything. You take your diamond sword, get your nether ingot, you get yourself a netherite sword, so on. That applies for all of the diamond gear, and that includes all of your tools. So this here, right here, is the full set of armor, as you can see here, and then this is what it's going to look like when it's enchanted. I'm a real big fan of it, like the design of these. I think it's definitely very different from the the normal blue diamond that we got seeing around. It's going to give us for me, like a little classier shine, but it's going to be really, really hard to get. Now to go over the differences. So over here on my enchanting table, I've got a set of things that, so that way we can kind of go over the changes that are made with the new netherite stuff. For one, enchants at a better rate than diamond does. Not as good as the gold, but gold isn't very durable, so this is going to be more durable, and it's going to enchant at a better rate. For example, we'll take a look here into the enchanting table, and if you were to take the boots here, let's say diamond boots, it says here you're going to get protection 4 ? And here it says protection 4, but you're more likely to get like the doubles in there, fire protection. Whereas, you'll hopefully get protection 4, or the other one you might get protection 4 plus unbreaking 3. It doesn't guarantee it, but it's going to have a better RNG that leads to better enchants. Not as good as the gold, like I said, but no one wears gold. It's useless. The other thing to look at here is, how does it compare? How does it stack up? I mean, it's so hard to find. Is it OP? No, it's not OP, but it's definitely better. We can see here that it's going to have 1 more armor toughness, 1 more armor toughness. That's really kind of the difference. So the durability, I believe, is like 25 or 50% more than diamond, so it's going to last longer, and it's going to, it's going to give you better protection. Plus, if you've noticed, the little attribute at the bottom, it's +1 knockback resistance. This goes into another thing that they kind of changed under the hood with Minecraft, is that the knockback is a scale rather than a probability. Before it was kind of a number system that jumped you back. Now it's actually going to scale compared to how much knockback resistance you have, and it'll be the same number each time, which I think is much better change. For example, now that I'm wearing the full gear, we're gonna go into survival. We'll change that, and I'm gonna shoot myself with an arrow. Boom. You see? Barely moved. Little move, but not much. Now we're going to take this off. And notice the difference, just like how far you get pushed back. So that's going to be the knockback resistance, which I see a lot of PvP applications for that. And for someone like me, a lot less getting knocked off into lava by a skeleton because you just don't see them and you're, just dancing by the lava pit. Here, as we compare, like the diamond shovel and the netherite shovel, it's got one more attack. Diamond pickaxe also has one more attack. Netherite axe has one more attack, and people who like to battle with their hoe, it doesn't do you any good. It's still the same, but it's one more attack across the board. Plus, from what I understand, that it's supposed to give you a slight mining increase. From the tests that I saw and reviewed, it's very negligible. I haven't noticed anything. Nothing seems to be insta-mine that wasn't insta-mine before, so on. So I'm not going to even bother with that. But they definitely are more durable, for sure. And they definitely have a slight increase on attack, for sure. One other thing I think is important to mention before anybody does something crazy is that when you do go to make a netherite, like let's say helmet for this instance, and you've got yourself a nice well enchanted piece of equipment, and you put your netherite in on it, takes away the enchantment, so it is no longer enchantment. So don't use your OP diamond gear and then turn it into netherite stuff. You will lose your enchantments. Just take regular diamond gear, move it on over, then enchant your stuff. Now for the really fun change. See all this netherite stuff? We don't need it anymore, right? We'll just go ahead and throw it away. Who needs it? That's right. As you can see, it does not burn up in lava. Or, in case you need like a different demonstration, boom, boom, boom. Usually throw all my stuff that I don't want anymore, burn it up, it's out of the way. Nope, it's still there. This stuff does not burn in lava, it does not burn in fire, so that means, if you do get a good set and you are deciding that you want to mine for more of the ancient debris, that's fine. If you die, your stuff will still be there. It won't burn up into the lava like I've done with so much more gear. You got yourself like real OP enchanted armor, and you take one misstep and you land into that pit, you'll find it. It'll float to the top. It's not only will it not burn, it'll just float to the top of the lava. This is a really cool addition because you know how hard it would be to get all this stuff, and to lose it that way would just be so very, very, very sad. I feel like I could do this all day. The other small change that I was noticing from watching the videos of some of the sidecraft guys is that for you redstoners, this is fun. Just like obsidian, it is blast proof. Of course, this isn't the final product, so this may be subject to change, but as for now, it is totally blast proof. You cannot blow it up. So you can't burn it, you can't blow it up. That's fantastic. And why I say it's good for you redstoners is because unlike the other one that can't be blown up, obsidian, it can be moved. And that is true for both of these blocks. They can be moved back and forth and not blown up. I'm assuming that'll have applications for maybe like moving TNT droppers or something. I don't know. I'm not a redstoner, but I'm sure somebody's going to come up with something crazy that's going to utilize this technology. It's just, you know, one more thing to add to their repertoire of making crazy cool stuff. So now, onto the blocks. Now onto the stuff that really, really interests me as, you know, a builder and somebody who likes to add a lot of detail. Variety is wonderful. So here, we're going to go over all of the blocks. As we saw in the nether, these things are made of the nether warp blocks, so easier to find around. And then these are going to be the nether vines. As you can see, they can be attached here to any downward block. Instead of like the other vines that would be under the sides, this one is going to be underneath the block. And actually, looking at this tree, I just noticed this is textured like it's moving. This is a movable block. Look at the lights shimmering out. This is so cool. I see so many applications for this. We're gonna have fun with that. And then this right here, of course, is the nylium. Let's go with nylium. Nylium that covers all of the ground. If you noticed that when we were venturing around, this was everywhere. You can see when we were into the crimson forest. So this is the crimson nylium. And then these are going to be the crimson roots, and they're kind of like just like little bushes. One thing to notice is that you actually can mine these by hand, unlike some of the other stuff that's in the overworld where you need to have like silk touch or shears to get it. This one you can actually just knock on by hand and mine it. I don't know if that's going to change, as things, like I said, are subject to change since this is just a snapshot. One thing to note about the weeping vines here is that they have a 25 life. That means that they can grow up to 25 blocks downwards, kind of similar to, or I guess the opposite of the blocks in the sea. What was it? The seaweed. That's not the right word for it. Whatever. Kelp. That's the word I'm looking for. Kelp. The kelp grows upwards 25. This is going to grow downwards 25. It's a similar life cycle the same way. Then let's go over here. We've got the blocks here. And we're going to give ourselves an axe, because this here can be stripped, just like all the other wood. This is going to be the strip variation. This is the, I'm so in love with it now that I know that the texture moves. Then we've the usual stuff that we get turned into planks the same way you would with any wood. Then you get slabs, and you've got pressure plates and buttons, you know, everything that you're going to get for wood. Stairs, and then this here is the trapdoor, and we got gates and fences and signs. One thing to note about this, my personal opinion on it, is, you know, I love the color. I do love the open look of it, but I think it's a little too similar to the acacia version. I'm hoping that they change it up just a little bit, because that would make it so we have 3 of them that are very similar, which I feel like, you know, they're creative enough. They can come up with a different design. The doors themselves, though, look at these doors. They're beautiful. I feel like you can make something really ominous. They're just like a very barred-in door. So much you can do with that. This here is our crimson fungi. This, to be noted, is actually, we take a little bone meal here. Boom. That's how we make these trees. And wow, that was a really large one. But yeah, you make these from the little fungi, and bone meal will grow them just like any other tree. One thing also to note is that, see here, we've got the shroom lights. They just randomly grow up in here. Look, it even grew in between the logs themselves this time. So it's pretty random on how these things are designed, but I think they look great. And look, the weeping vines here, they grew in it as well. So you'll just get all these things randomly generated into this one spawn. Another thing to notice about bone meal is that, as you can see here, this is just regular netherrack. If you were to take bone meal, you can actually get the crimson nylon to spread amongst the netherrack that way. And this includes upwards and downwards, of course. Being that we go into like a warp nylium, whoops. We go into the warp nylium, it does the similar thing. Oh, there we go. Interesting. It dominated it. Yeah, it looks like the red. It really, really wants the red. As long as it's touching it. As long as it's touching netherrack, it will pick one and it will be spread it amongst. If it is not touching netherrack, such as back here, I can't do anything with it at all. So, onto the warp variations. Here we go. As we said earlier, this is the warped block, which is fun to say. It is an exact blue replication of the nether one. It has no current other use other than, you know, aesthetically, I guess. And I noticed that this also is a texture that is, you know, animated, which is, this is so cool. Breaking it just like any other tree, it's got the same kind of tree textures. And then if we, here, it's got the strip variations. Other things we got here is the warped roots, which gives it, you know, all those little plant and an even smaller one, the warped sprouts. I don't believe that you can interact with these in any way. They're all visual, but they do definitely help with the ambiance and allowed for a little bit more variation for something, adding a little bit more color to any one of your builds. Same as the other one, it's got all the same, you know, wood variations. It's got your planks and your slabs and your pressure plates and your buttons and your stairs. This one, see, if you can tell, it's very similar trapdoor design, but slightly warped, which makes sense since this is the warped trapdoor. So, I mean, I'd be okay if they keep this one. I would just hope that they would change the crimson one slightly. So all of these normal, you got your fences, and just like before, you've got your tree. We can grow it. Whoops! Pop my doors off. Then we'll put them over here. Here we go. So here's another, this is the warped wood, which is kind of similar in a way, but we got more of a wavy design. It's different than our other doors. I think it's just fantastic. They've just really done a great job of creating us, you know, something that's very new and very different than anything that we've had before. From the warp force, we recognize this block as soul sand. Alright, this is the stuff that slows you down. This is the soul soil, but it does not have the same properties. It does not slow you down at all. So, even though it has the same name, it's not the same variation, but it does blend very well in with the soul sand, which is nice. And you can hear the difference here is that when you light the soul soil on fire, that's when you get these blue flames. Ah, it's so cool. And then what other thing we find in the soul sand biome is the basalt. I made them like this because I want to see that there's actually a different from the side texture and the top and down texture. So normally when you find it, you're going to see it in this, but you can, how you place it makes a big difference on how it presents itself because it has different, it's directional, like some of the other blocks. Moving on, we have a new addition to the game. This here is our Soul Fire Torch. It's a torch, of course, using the blue flame that they've added to here. And it's actually a really simple recipe. You're going to just do a normal torch, but then you're going to add here the soul soil. So the same as what we got here that you can light blue on, you're going to add that in. So grab yourself a shovel, go to the nether, and you can make yourself cool new blue torches, which is a nice little like addition, a little change from the usual dullness of the red one that we've seen. But it, of course, we'll show you a little later that it has some different properties. Here, as you can see, next to the other lantern, you have the Soulfire lantern. Just like the torch, it's got its own version that's going to be slightly blue, which I think is going to be cool. It's going to be really kind of like throw things around a little bit where you can change the lighting. At any time we add new lighting, I get super excited. So we've actually had, what, 3 new light sources in this one? Couldn't be happier. This is going to be the recipe for it. It's just the same as the other torch. You're going to take yourself a soulfire torch, surround itself with iron, and you got yourself a nice little soulfire lantern. That's going to be great. Where'd you come from, kitty cat? I thought you'd have to follow me all the way from that village. Go away. I'm doing a video. Here we go. I have a nice little demonstration, actually, of our new light sources. Here we've got, regular fire over there. And then we've got the new blue fire, blue soulfire. And then we've got the regular lanterns over here. And then we have the new soulfire lantern over here. We have glowstone. And we have the new shroom lights. Yep, shroom light. Ah, look at me nail it. So as you can see, they don't give off the same light amounts. The soulfire ones actually give off slightly less than their counterparts. So this one's actually seems like significantly less. The fire itself, the soulfire lantern looks like it's slightly less, and then it looks like the shroom light is slightly less than what you would see normally in, like, let's say, glowstone. It will add its own applications, so you might need to have more to fully light up a structure with this stuff, or if you're going for a certain ambiance with the light levels, then you can kind of mix and match here and there. You can have a light that only does a small area. You choose. Everybody's got a different preference. So the last little bit that we're going to go over are just some minor changes that some might care about and some might not. This is something that's new to me because, I haven't dealt with redstone, definitely not redstone on glass at this point. But see how we got the redstone going over here? You can see it from below. Apparently, the way that the texture worked before, you actually couldn't see the redstone. This next one I knew. Here we got ourselves, a nice little pot here. And look, it's got a bottom. Before I noticed this, whereas if you were to ever put it on top of something and then look up at it, you would actually see straight through it, like it had no bottom at all. But yet you see the dirt when you look below. So it was a little minor change, but kind of glad they did that. The other little thing is something that Mango was showing off in one of his videos, which some people are going to definitely like. Let's see. First off, let's show off the wall. One of the changes here is that the wall, when you put it like this, it actually does a full connect now. Before, there would be like a small gap in between. It actually, all the time, changes that. And one of the other things to know is that when you put like a block on top, it gives it that full like wall pillar down the center. And then when you change it, it takes it away. That being said, that creates an update. So in this situation, if I were to take that off, it can actually activate the observer at the bottom because it's making a block update. So we're going to go ahead and put this back, and if you look at the block below, it's going to grab it. By moving a block above or taking it away, it changes how this block looks and how this block reacts. The observer sees that, and then you can use that signal however you wish from there. It's something that is pretty awesome because it only works downwards, is something to note, but it does work instantaneous. It gives it an instant signal as opposed to having to run your redstone line, or as far as I know, you can do this as high as you want, within build limit, and it'll go down instantaneously. So you can create signals super fast using this new technique. That mostly wraps up what we have to talk about today. There are a lot of other bug changes that you should probably go check out if that concerns you, because there was a lot listed there. I didn't really want to go over any of those, but if you go to the main Mojang page, you can definitely check out that there are a ton of bug fixes. So they're definitely looking for and taking feedback and changing little things here that I would never notice, but it has affected someone, obviously. The other two other notes that I took from it is that they are going to lower the the chances of you being able to find shipwrecks, the lower your chance of you being able to find ocean ruins, in order to make them more exciting when you see them. And I did notice when this on the Tango Tech server that when we were there, I mean, they're all over the place. Like, we were finding them left and right. So they kind of do lose their appeal if you find them that often. This way that they feel more special when you find them. So I'm okay with that. And the other thing was that patrols are no longer going to happen when you're in a village. So when you're near the village, there's no longer going to keep like running patrols into there, because I think it will mess up with you being able to become hero of the village. That wraps it up though. So thanks for watching. I hope this was informative. I hope you guys are excited, or hopefully as excited as I am for this new update. This is really going to change, I think, a lot of the game. This is as exciting as, for me, the whole water update. And they got more to come. So hopefully I'll see you in the next snapshot. Thanks for watching. This has been DarmicePrime of the Prime Apes, and we'll see you around soon.